start out looking for you. They have a specific need and they're trying to meet the need. Truett Cathy of Chick-fil-A says, we don't hire people because they need a job, we hire them because we need them. The companies aren't running a ministry, they're going, oh, come over here and work so you'll be fulfilled. That isn't why people hire people. They say, oh gosh, we're short on this. If we don't get this done, we're going to have a problem. So we need to hire somebody to get this done. And then you come along going, well, I wonder how I fit into getting that done. And you've got to really look, and do you fit into getting that done? And the company's bringing you on board. You've got to think about that when you're looking for a job, when you're choosing career direction. I mean, this book right here is fabulous on this idea of picking out the right thing to do with your life. This book is Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's one of the best-selling books in the last decade in business. One of the chapters in this book where they studied good companies that went from good to great, they said the companies that go from good to great have an ability to get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, but most importantly of all, get the right people on the right seat, on the right bus. And if you get people functioning in their strengths, you take your company from good to great. If you function in your strength, you get to be a part of taking your company from good to great. And your income will reflect that long term. Develop a strategy once you decide you're looking for something. Identify the target. Don't just go, I need a job. Now let's say I want a career. I want to go in a certain direction. Target the type of thing you're looking for. Look at stuff like the newspaper, online job postings employment agencies, networking. Pursue a company that you already know and love. Maybe they don't have a job listed. Most of the best jobs don't ever get listed. You know that, don't you? It's a friend of a friend. It's networking and those kinds of things. Only 15% of the jobs come out of the newspaper. You know, so, I mean, I hardly would waste my time with that. I'd look just for the fun of it. But you know, you need to be thinking about other ways to open a door and go, you've got a job that needs to be done, and I'm the guy, I'm the gal to do it. And let me show you how and why. And they go, well, I didn't even know we needed that done. But that's a good idea. You might make us more than you cost us. Come on. And that's how people get hired into great positions of doing something they love. So learn everything you can about this company. Research them, study them, read their website, learn about talk to the people that work there. Take somebody that works there to lunch. Spy on them. They love it. Okay, they love it. It's how you get their attention. You go, this matters. And you plug yourself into something there and people get fired up. You'd be amazed how you get hired that way. When it comes to contacting the company, think of it like starting a new relationship with a person. If you're going to start a relationship with a person, have you ever walked up to someone at a party or maybe a wedding reception, something like that, where everybody's just standing around talking to a bunch of strangers, and they walk up, and especially guys will say something like, what do you do? And somebody will start telling you what they do. And you really were just trying to create a conversation. You really did not want to hear all that they have ever done. You know, I mean, they'll give you their resume. People will talk on end about themselves, and you really didn't want to know all that. You know what I'm talking about in a conversation where it's all one-sided? That's not a relationship, is it? That's what sending out a resume to somebody who didn't ask for your resume is. It's all about me. Look at me. I'm great. Don't put me in the pile with all those others. Look at me. That's not a relationship. And you won't get hired that way very often. Very few of us have ever gotten high-quality jobs straight off of resumes. It isn't working that way. So instead, after you target the company where you'd most like to work, you're going to contact them at least 3 times. Send out an introduction letter. Dan Miller talks about this in 48 Days to the Work You Love. Then send a cover letter with a resume. But an introduction letter could just say something like, hey, think you guys are awesome. I want to, over the next little while, I want to develop a dialogue with you. I want to develop a relationship with you. One step is you're going to be seeing another letter coming soon with a resume. You can toss the resume if you want, but don't toss the letter because I'm going to be following up. And then I'm going to be following up on a certain date. Expect my phone call on Friday, the 20th. I'll be calling on that day. And then when you call, they go, wow, this guy said he was going to call, and he called. This is a weird guy. Because most people are like, I can't call. They'll think I'm too forward, or I'm too scared, I'm backward. I don't want to. Just set up a game plan and a process here and follow this thing right down the natural event as if you were trying to get a date. You're building a relationship. Keep in mind, 98% of these companies are small businesses. They operate on relationships. They don't operate on policies and procedures. That's not who's hiring. Policies and procedures of the government. Nobody follows that in the real world except those unusual jobs like that. Interviews and jobs come from persistent follow-up and networking. That's where they come from. Unsolicited resumes have a 10% success rate, and classified ads have a 15% success rate. That's what studies tell us. It's interesting, we have a guy on our team right now that is an absolutely fabulous team member. And he had crashed a business situation and really was kind of down on his luck a little bit. And he was working at one of the big box construction stores, like a Lowe's, a Home Depot type of a thing, right? And just to get some money. He was just to eat money, you know, while he looked for something to do and get back up on his feet and kind of get his, you know, kind of shake that thing off from getting knocked down. You know how it is. Do you know how it is? Say yes. And he sent in the resume, and in our place we get lots of resumes. I told you we have several hundred folks on our team, and so he got in the pile with the resumes, and you know, and it was, you know, we never really got around to it, and he wrote me this cool email telling me this story, and he's a storyteller. And he told me the story about 2 Dave Ramsey listeners and readers who came into the store. Both of them walked up to him at the same time talking about this piece of equipment laying in this construction area of the store, and it had opened, the box was open, and they both are trying to get a bargain on different parts of it, and they looked at each other and kind of high-fived and both went, Dave Ramsey. And he told the story better than I did. And I laughed when I read it, and it was kind of cute. And he said, I couldn't resist because I'm a Dave Ramsey listener too, and I gave them both a deal. I went and got the manager, and we gave them a deal. Because it was just cute. They both got what they wanted, and the store got rid of the item, whatever it was, and this kind of thing. But the way he told the story, it was obvious he was a writer. It's obvious he's a storyteller. And in all the stuff we do around our organization, we tell stories because it's about people's lives. So we have to have those kinds of people on our team. And I got that email out, and I was reading it one morning in our staff meeting. And I read that. I said, this is a cute story I got on email. I was just sharing it with our whole team one morning. And I finished it, and I said, you know what? We need to hire that guy. And you know, we hired him by the end of the week. But his resume was already done in the stack. And we didn't even know it was there. It wasn't because we were trying to diss him. And he's on our team right now. Why? Because he used a different approach that showed his talents, connected with us in the way we think and have a philosophy inside of our organization, and boom, he got the job he wanted.
Resumes, cover letters, interviews. What's most important? Lots of people will tell you it's the resume, but really, that's only a small part of job hunting. The resume won't get you a job, but it will help you get an interview. So why do I need a cover letter then? Here's an example. Let's say you're reading online and find the perfect job. You have all the qualifications, except you're lacking experience in one area. Should you skip it and move on? How about adding a few more details in your resume to make up the experience? No, that's called lying. Or do you apply for the job anyway and address this issue in the cover letter, explaining that you're a quick learner? Your cover letter explains why you're sending a resume. Also, you're trying to get the person reading it interested enough so they'll call you for an interview. And cover letters can help with the example I just told you about. It addresses specific skills and experiences on your resume, or in this case, skills that are not on your resume. Finally, the interview, the most important part of securing a job. This will make you or break you. Present yourself well. You only have one chance to make a good first impression. Arrive on time. Dress professionally. Have a firm handshake. And be prepared and be confident. This is your shot to market your best product, you.
Now, you need to present yourself well. You got to do the basic stuff, right? You know, you got to go in there and know you're the product. I got to have the best product. I got to look sharp. I'm going for a job interview, right? And I'm amazed the people that come into our organization that really don't have a clue they're there trying to impress someone. Dude, I wouldn't even let you come to my house as a guest wearing that. And you want to come to work here wearing that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of these people, I mean, bless their hearts. I mean, there's some things you can do dressed that way with hair that looks like that. And there's some things you can, you know, it's okay to be in a punk rock band if it looks like you fell into a tackle box. You know? But, right? And don't send me a bunch of hate mail. I'm not mad at you for piercings. That's not the point. But I mean, I'm not thinking bank teller. I mean, bank teller doesn't come to mind, does it? Does bank teller pop into your head? So your appearance affects your ability to get a job, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not thinking estate planner. Are you thinking estate planner right now? I go into an attorney's office to hire someone to defend me against a corporate lawsuit. This is not coming to mind, is it? If this guy's personal assistant looks like this isn't coming to mind, is it? So there are some things that are inappropriate for the job. And you know, and if you're going to be around anything that's like, oh, I don't know, maybe if you were near a magnet it would be bad. I don't know. I mean, that's really cool if you're on Venice Beach, right? But it's not going to work inside of a bank. You know, so you got to think about your appearance. It does affect things. Well, it shouldn't. Well, I know, but it does. And that's a reality. So when you're on a job interview, you've got to think about this stuff. Be on time. Address everyone by name. Offer a firm handshake. Maintain eye contact. Most people say you get hired or fired in the first 30 seconds of an interview. And that's before you ever sat down. Simply how you introduced yourself, how you walked up. Were you arrogant? Did you hold the stare too long where someone was uncomfortable? Did you dress in such a way that it was totally weird and inappropriate? Not necessarily fashionable, not necessarily unfashionable. And some of you ladies weren't thinking about how you dressed yourselves, particularly, and a guy comes out there and he's uncomfortable. You know, these are things you really, really have to keep in mind. You've got about 30 seconds, and they're going to make a call on you right then. And that's going to make or break whether or not you move forward with that organization most of the time. You know, Zig Ziglar tells a story that he was out to eat one time, and a young guy came up to waiting on him at his table, and Zig's a kind and nice man, and he's a very interesting guy, though. And this young man had the multiple piercings again, looked like he fell into a tackle box or something, and and Zig said, "How do you like all that stuff on your face?" And he said, "I really like it. I enjoy it. It's kind of a different thing." And he said, I think it's pretty interesting too. He said, "I got to tell you, I would fight and die for your freedom to be able to do that. But I wouldn't hire you for a job." Designate a time to follow up and then do it. If you leave the interview saying, "I'll just check back with you later," and you call 62 times, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Or you're just going, "Oh, should I call? If I call too much?" It's like calling that girl in high school. I don't want to call too much. I want to seem like too pushy, but I really want to let her know I'm interested in what's the balance, and you got all this stuff going through. You can alleviate every bit of that. Every bit of that. When you're leaving the interview, just set a time. Would it be okay if I follow up with you on next Thursday? Yes. Would morning or afternoon be better? Morning. Great. I'll call you about 10 o'clock. Is that okay? We have a phone appointment at 10 o'clock. I'm going to follow up. Then if you don't follow up, you're a putz. Right? And if you do follow up, you're professional, on time, and you have no reason to not follow up and no reason to be scared when you dial the phone because they're expecting your call. Set an appointment for the follow-up and take yourself right straight through. Basic sales technique is all that is. It helps you avoid call reluctance, we would say in sales. And then, by the way, when you go in to meet with a company, send them a thank you note. As soon as you hit the front door, go to a restaurant, sit down on stationery, and do a handwritten thank you note, drop it in the mail right back to them so it's there the next morning. Send a thank you note. Don't send a bouquet of flowers. They'll think you're flirting. Send a simple thank you note. Don't overdo it. People freak out and go, "This one's a little weird." But a simple thank you note's going, "This one's got a little class that the average character doesn't have." Use those kinds of things. That'll get you into places. It really, really will. Likes to pay taxes, but it's a fact of life. Depending on where you live, there are 3 or 4 basic taxes that will be deducted or taken from your paycheck. The first is federal income tax. On your paycheck, it usually says federal. The next is my favorite, not really, Social Security. Your check will say FICA, Federal Insurance Contribution Act. The government also has a health insurance program called Medicare. This is for people over 65 who don't have health insurance or who don't have enough to cover their needs. Finally,
If you're unlucky enough to live in a state that has an income tax, money will be deducted, usually called state. So, how much should you plan on for all of these taxes? Well, it depends on your income and your filing status, but you can usually figure about 25% of your pay. Think of this glass as your gross pay. It's the money that you earned before any taxes get taken out. That is, of course, your gross pay. So it's the whole thing, okay? Now, after they take out federal, state, FICA, and Medicare, you have your net or your take-home pay. And here's how that looks. That's why when you want to build wealth, you want to keep as much money as you can away from the government.
Raising your income long-term is a career track issue. Your career track is vital because as you make more and more and more and more money, you get to win with money. It's that simple. And you get on a career track and it's not going to be straight up. It's going to be a little of this along the way. But hopefully as you figure out your personality style and all of that, it's a long-term issue. But some folks in here right now, some people watching this right now, they don't have a 5-year problem. They got a 5-minute problem. I need some money today. The light people are calling, and I'm afraid they're going to quit calling and just flip the switch. I'm about to get foreclosed on. I've got bill collectors screaming at me. I need some money today. See, there's 2 things we work for. Thing 1 we work for is the long-term strategic thinking career, and that's where you make the bulk of your money, and that's what we've been talking about at the start of this lesson. And you need to be doing something you love over a long period of time. The second thing you work for is for money to eat. It's for necessities. And really, that's where it starts. You have to eat first. Then you self-actualize and try to move into something you love.
Well, certainly one of the best ways to say thank you in our culture that is a capitalistic culture is profit. Profit is the applause that customers give you. And the same is true when you're working. And so if your employer is paying you well, that's applause because what you're doing is very, very valuable in the marketplace. And you can a lot of times take something you love doing that other people do the similar kind of skill, and you can find a way, a different kind of an application for that skill that is very profitable for you and yours. But certainly money is not everything. But living without it is tougher than living with it. So I'm always going to concentrate on trying to find a way to do that. But don't go become a doctor and hate every day of your life being a doctor just because it makes a lot of money. You want to pick something that you love doing and then find a way to take that application and turn it profitable in your life.
If you're in the middle of a mess financially and you're trying to turn it around, lots and lots and lots of people in Financial Peace University, or have read my books across the nation, take on the dreaded extra job, the dreaded part-time job. So raising your income long-term is a career track issue. Raising it short-term means the dreaded part-time job. So it's a matter of getting rid of some debt quickly, getting the debt snowball rolling, getting that $1,000 together. And what we're saying here is that you have to be willing to sacrifice to win. These are jobs you do not want to do for 10 years, usually. Usually you're not going to enter the career of your choice at this point. Usually you're going to be doing something like delivering pizzas or lifting boxes over at UPS or FedEx. Usually you're going to be waiting tables or cleaning houses or mowing grass or parking cars. And lots of people, white collar and blue collar alike, that have regular careers during the day are doing stuff at night and on the weekends to get a little extra money in to get that snowball rolling. Because they want to get this thing moving. They're willing to sacrifice for a short period of time to win. And you got to have a detailed plan so you can see the finish line. Because I tell you what, you start working 2 or 3 extra jobs. You start delivering papers and pizzas, and you start parking cars on the weekend, and working your job. You're working 3 or 4 jobs, you get a bunch of money coming in, but you'll be tired, won't you? And you can't keep your eye on the finish line. You can't keep the energy up if you think this is going to go on forever. And so what you've got to do is you've got to be measuring it. Every time I deliver papers, I got that debt knocked off. By the end of next week, I'll have that one knocked off. And by working those pizza things, this is when I'm going to have this knocked off. And you're measuring your progress with a detailed written plan, which keeps you encouraged to know that pretty soon I'm going to be able to quit all this junk and go back to having a life again, but I won't have any debt then, so I'll have a real life. But you cannot maintain that. Do it. this is working like no one else, so later I get to work like no one else. See, today I work when I want to, but there was a day I worked like an animal. Took every possible speaking gig, did every book signing event, did anything anybody would let me go with my scissors chopping up credit cards, I would go. And now I'm not a snob, but I have a life. And it's in balance. I have a family I love, and I get to do some things with them. And so my personal assistant, part of her job is, no, Dave can't come. And it's not because I'm mad at you or don't think your thing's worthy. I'm just going to do a lot less now, and I'll do only the things that we particularly want me to do that cause leverage in our organization. And it's not because I don't love speaking at your church. It's not because of those things, but it's just, no, Dave can't come now. Because, he's got teenagers, he's got a family, he's got a little fat dog that he needs to take on a walk. He's got all of these things. But I work like no one else, and now I work like no one else. I do what I want to do, and that's where I want you to get to. But you're going to sacrifice to win. And it's like the guy that was delivering pizzas, and he was telling me, he said, Dave, it's one of the most embarrassing events in my entire life. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm doing the pizza thing, man. He said, I'm making about $1,000, $1,500 a month throwing these pizzas. It's great, and I'm chunking on some debt. But he said, I'm like a white-collar executive, and I bring in, he's like 40 years old, and he said, I'm bringing in these 26-year-old guys and training them. And the other night, one of the guys I'm training, I had to deliver a pizza to his house. This is a guy who really, really wants to win, isn't it? Or like a friend of mine that's a pastor. He's a pastor of a church, speaks to a couple hundred people on Sundays, ministers to these people, very professional minister, parks cars on Saturdays. Got to park one of the cars for one of his congregants one time. That's an interesting position of humility, isn't it? And do I want you to do that the rest of your life? Absolutely not. But if you work like no one else, later you get to work like no one else. The trick is, have that detailed plan so that you can see the finish line. Choose the job or start a home-based business. Maybe you don't want to do the pizza thing. Maybe instead you're just going to start a great small part-time thing if you want to. You can deliver pizzas, you can wait tables, you can deliver papers, you can yard work, clean houses, car detailing, handyman, web design, PC repair, you can do anything. Or you can do like a guy did named Jason Droge over on eBay. His hobby, he loves golf. And he's a golfer. And he started going around the garage sale seeing all these used golf clubs everywhere. And he started buying used golf clubs and just cleaning them up a little bit and selling them on eBay. Last year he sold $2 million worth on eBay. Be careful what you wish for.
Here's a great story about how you can take an idea and turn it into a successful business. Not only that, it's a great lesson in entrepreneurship and doing something you actually like. In 2004, Kane Bond was just 19 years old, and he began selling strollers on eBay and went full-time in June when he graduated high school. He sold an astronomical $30,000 worth of products in July alone. Kane had no background in strollers, but he didn't let that stop him. Do you know what he said? The one thing I do know is that babies are born every day, so people need strollers. Bond expanded and began adding bicycles, tricycles, and wagons. In May 2005, he used his revenues to move from his home to an office space and open a bicycle retail store. Today, he has brought 5 employees into his eBay empire. Amazingly, he's done it all without bank financing. His projected sales in 2006, over $1 million. Doing something that interests you and something that you love is like hitting a home run every time you step up to the plate.
So, is eBay the answer? No, eBay's not the answer. You can do a lot of things. I had a caller on my radio show the other day, a lady who's a mommy, and she said, I want to be at home full-time with my babies, but I have a master's degree, and I have little babies, and I have a $40,000 student loan I'm trying to pay off from this master's degree, and yet I want to be a full-time mom. And so what she ended up doing is, she's now a teacher, a college professor with her master's degree, online. And doesn't miss the kids at all. Puts the kids to bed, sits down, goes back into the blog, goes back in, reads their emails, grades their papers, and almost every single college in the U.S. today has an online initiative. And there's lots of people sitting at home with degrees that could go online and become an online prof and make some money doing that. There's a lot of things you can do if you just set your mind to it, utilizing the stuff that you've got. The trick is this: no matter what happens, Figure out your game plan. With the short-term game plan, the extra jobs, the little starting your own business idea, or the long-term game plan, the strategic thinking, whatever you do, you just got to get in the mindset of, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to just get stuck in a rut. Zig Ziglar says a rut is just a grave with both ends kicked out. I'm not going to get stuck in a rut. I'm not going to accept where I am. I'm going to move on. If you're in a good place, that's good, but move to a better one. If you're in a great place, that's good, but move to a better one. If you're in a lousy place, for goodness sakes, let's get to a better one. Let's make a decision here to do something different. Calvin Coolidge said this. He said, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. By the way, press on will solve your problems, your individual problems. You don't have to solve all the problems of the human race. You can just decide, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to win. I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to step up. Now, in the midst of all of this, we got to throw out one warning, because I'm not suggesting workaholism. I'm not suggesting that you draw your self-worth from what you do. You need to be who you are, and doing things is a part of that. If the only place you have a self-worth is in doing, then you've got a twisted situation going on. So don't allow your work to be the source of all your satisfaction and your self-worth. That's a dumb idea. We'll close up with this old poem. I love this. I've got this on my wall. My parents gave this to me. Actually went to a seminar when I was about 14 years old. And this absolutely just electrifies me every time I read through it. It's called, I Do Not Choose to Be a Common Man. It is my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentive for a dole. I prefer challenges, the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will not trade freedom for beneficence, nor my dignity for a handout. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid, to think and act for myself, to enjoy the benefit of my creations, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. Thanks for being here. Do something you love and enjoy. Money won't buy happiness. Do something you love. Find something that blends your talents, your skills, your personality traits, your values, your dreams, your passions. Resumes will only get you an interview, if even that. Your job is to sell yourself in the interview. Always make a good first impression. There's nothing wrong with changing jobs or careers. The average person will have 10 or 15 different jobs by the time they're 38 years old. Make sure you enjoy what you do and that the job lines up with your goals and, again, your natural skills. The bottom line is, if you do something you like and you're good at it and you use most of your talents and you work really hard, the money follows.